Joining me now is celebrity and royal commentator Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, let's start with Meghan Markle. She's been widely mocked after she seemingly channeled Kamala Harris in her latest interview, using phrases like "when you anchor yourself in your knowing" and all sorts of other terms that most normal people do not use. Have a listen.
And I just think there really is a lot of value to when you anchor into your own knowing, then you're telling your own story. Yeah. You're telling your own story and how you show up in the world, what you do. You actually don't need to say anything. You can show who you are.
Kinsey, do you often just anchor into your own knowing just to know yourself a little bit better?
Absolutely not. I mean, she sounds like she's anchoring in her own excrement with whatever that was. Obviously, Meghan is insufferable here, but nothing annoys me more than the legacy media that gives this false prophet a platform to grift. Not only did Meghan refuse to give Bloomberg units sold or revenue intel, she lies without being fact-checked. She didn't have to wear pantyhose while she was a working member of the royal family. And if this exercise was so suffocating, then why did she wax lyrically on her own podcast about Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, one of America's leading pantyhose companies?
Yeah. Good point. I mean, your life is going pretty well if the biggest grievance you have is having to wear pantyhose for a few hours on a couple of occasions. I mean, really? I mean, to even mention that as something that you're aggrieved about is pretty pathetic. Now, Prince Harry is set to visit the UK on a solo trip this week. He is not bringing Meghan and the kids with him, but he has said that he wants to make more frequent trips to the UK with the family. Any indication of whether he'll see his father, King Charles, during this latest trip?
It's my understanding that Harry is still receiving radio silence when it comes to the palace. But this is just more propaganda coming from Team Sussex. Prince Harry can return to the UK whenever he chooses. His family has even offered him the security of Buckingham Palace to stay at if he wants to feel safe, which he declined. In most cases, he's provided with the level of protection he asks for 9 times out of 10, I'd bet. The real sticking point seems to be control. He dislikes having to give Ravik 28 days notice and share his itinerary so they can assess the appropriate security detail. If he follows that protocol and credible threats exist, protection is extended. And of course, they're going to protect Meghan and his children as well. That's why it feels less like a genuine safety concern and more like a convenient excuse to gain public sympathy. Ultimately, these are the natural consequences of his own actions.
Now, Prince William has joked about getting drunk with actor Eugene Levy during a surprise cameo in the trailer for the actor's upcoming travel show, The Reluctant Traveller. Let's have a look.
Please welcome our own national treasure, Mr. Eugene Levy.
Was getting drunk with Prince William on your bucket list?
That's the bucket.
That's the bucket, is it?
Kinsey, why is this such a surprise?
Well, I'll tell you why it's a surprise to me, but maybe not others. Mike Tindall, who's married to Prince William's cousin Zara, once nicknamed Prince William One Pint Willie on a BBC podcast because he can't really handle his liquor. William later admitted that the nickname was real and even joked that Mike apologized for letting it slip in public. So that's why I get a kick out of this, because I'm like, what does that consist of? One beverage? But it's also just fun to see how animated and silly Prince William can be. I think if you are following the drama, you might think that he's a very stern, unhappy person, but it turns out he's got a great sense of humor, just like his mother, Princess Diana.
Now, there's been an update to that Coldplay Kiss Cam coverage. We saw that couple who shouldn't have been together. What is the latest?
Well, the latest is that the female is getting a divorce, which I think we've all just been...
Kristen Cabot, I think her name is.
Yes, we've all just kind of been patiently waiting to see what was going to happen, if there was going to be any real fallout aside from his wife deleting her Facebook page. I mean, every once in a while, a story like this hits the headlines and you're reminded that actions, again, have consequences. These two totally humiliated their partners, and you just sit back and say, I hope their children are okay. I mean, yes, their significant others, I hope they're okay, but there were children involved in this as well.
Well, the company CEO, Andy Byron, the man in that footage, he's stepped down. She's stepped down from her fairly senior role at the company as well. So there's been plenty of consequences there. Now, pop star Britney Spears, or former pop star, I should say, she hasn't released anything for a while. She's reportedly panicking about her ex-husband, Kevin Federline's upcoming tell-all book, vowing to strike back if he attempts to humiliate her. Kinsey, what more can you tell me about this? What is her ex-husband likely to reveal?
Well, forget about the book itself. The real shocker is Kevin Federline can read well enough to write a book, allegedly. I mean, Spears and Federline's, I think this is important that we consider. Spears and Federline's children are legal adults now. So this monstrous child support check that she was paying this guy religiously, those checks are over. Her highest monthly child support payment to Federline was $40,000 a month at one point. Knowing how shameless this guy is, I'm curious to see how well this book actually sells. I'll read the headlines it generates, but I would never voluntarily financially support this. In my opinion, total loser. Like, I just think that this is a cruel thing to do. This woman put him on the map.
Now, talking about total losers, a couple who've had a fall of late, Will Smith and wife Jada Pinkett Smith have been spotted together for the first time in 10 months. They were grabbing a bite to eat at celebrity hotspot Nobu in Malibu. While the two of them have been living separately. Kinsey, you don't go to Nobu in Malibu unless you want to be papped.
Yeah, I mean, and do you remember the term entanglement? Remember us having to suffer through the term entanglement when Jada Pinkett Smith was talking about the affair she had on Will Smith? These two are definitely looking for positive press. You know, she had that book that totally bombed not too long ago. We recently talked about Will Smith signing a new movie deal that isn't going to come to fruition instantly. He released an album this year. They're desperate for a comeback. And I understand they've got to make money, and I'm sure that they want to maintain their lifestyle. But are we ready to forgive them? I'm not so sure.
Well, the ill will towards this couple is enormous, and you can kind of understand it with, with some of the stuff Jada Pinkett Smith has done. But with Will Smith, it was really that one incident. It was a big incident at the Oscars where he slapped Chris Rock for just making a joke. But his fall from grace, I don't think I've seen anything like it in the celebrity world for something that you would think wouldn't be enough to destroy a career, but it pretty much has, Kinsey.
I think it's because it was so... It contradicted who he was so completely. We thought that he was everyone's best friend. We thought he was the happiest, you know, happy-go-lucky. And he's the same guy that refused to curse in his music when that, you know, cursing in his music would have made him even cooler. He refused to. So it was hard for us to digest. I think we were incredibly disappointed.
Kinsey Schofield, thank you so much for your time tonight.